Okay, tell us when action's on.
Action.
Right, lads, how are you?
Good.
And you shouldn't be smoking on camera, Brian? Nor should you, Angus. Come on.
True. Guess we better have our last try.
Oh, Malcolm's smoking as well. Cliff, how are you? I mean,
good. How you
why
doing?
you're not smoking? Right. Now listen, long time between drinks this time, as far as an album's concerned. Why?
Why? I mean, not how are you? How are you?
Well, how have you been?
How's the family? How's the kid? Long time between drinks.
I would have been working in between the album. I mean, it's not as though I've been sitting twiddling my thumbs. After the last album, we toured America, and then we toured Europe. Yeah, and then
Some of our friends touring now.
here's the soup. And then we started the album last year, maybe sometime about we rehearsed. And then we went to the studio about November, end of November, so start of November, beg your pardon. And then we had Christmas off, went to Rio, we did a couple of gigs in Rio, back in the studio, so we've been working, you know, it's not as though we haven't been doing anything, you know.
Well, no, going right back to the first days of acdc, right? And when you were sort of like working in Australia, did you ever imagine, I mean, here we are in some
Palace
in New York, right?
White House.
No, but seriously, I mean, going back to that time, and your brother had an amazing success through his own life as far as like the Easy Beats were concerned. Did you ever imagine that it would get to this? I'm being serious, Angus. Please be serious.
I'll try. No.
That was very
You can answer this one there.
No, I think it started out as fun, which we still try and maintain, as you can pick up here with the lads. But no, we didn't imagine it to go any further than Australia.
Right.
But the world was there, and we think as things picked up. But we had to do exactly what we did in Europe and in the States is what we did in Australia. I don't think a lot of people realise that. They thought we were just overnight successes in England and America. But really that was all what we had to do in Australia. You know, what a road work. What a club.
Okay, I mean, going back to 75, 76, and the thing I maintain, I mean, where they, when they analyse, say, punk rock for a start, and say, like, even with the Sex Pistols, with Johnny and Sid Vicious, at the same time of when they were breaking and sort of making a big name for themselves, you were there at the Marquee, and at that stage, and the Marquee Club in London has these ups and downs being a live club, where literally no one was going until you got there, and you were, I mean, I'll never forget one night in 75, you were packing the joint out, you know? Was it a matter of the fact that people really wanted, even in England, wanted to see live music again?
I think it was more the giveaway ticket. Free bit.
Kills a line, doesn't he? Sorry.
Nah, I think that, yeah, there's just a word of mouth thing. Word of mouth makes anything, I think. I mean, no amount of TV, radio or something. If there's something out there with the kids especially, you know, especially with us, you know. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, who would call that? I mean, rugged, maybe.
No, I think sometimes he's right. I think sometimes word of mouth's more powerful than any media type of thing can be. You know, once if a few kids go and see a show and they really like it, tell a few friends, and you know they'll always be there. They'll tell a
So
few
he
more.
told 4, I told 5.
So, like you know, you tell a few buddies, tell your mother. You know, you can get everybody there. It is true, you know.
Well, I mean, the other shock was, I mean, through that same period, and especially back in Australia, and then the ABBA thing had broken, and I went over and did an interview with ABBA in Stockholm, and I got a great shock, and it was a culture shock to me to suddenly see in the record shops around Stockholm, I mean, this acdc sign, which, I mean, and suddenly I realised that Europe were really big on acdc. When did you become aware that Europe had become big on you?
You didn't see any ABBA.
No, I didn't actually.
Well, I don't. it's something we never got a chance to sort of sit back and look and chop up, you know. But I think it just all sort of happened when the whole world started taking really notice of his voice. Really let there be rock. From that album on, everything started to come into place. That's when we started selling out in Europe. When we come here, people were starting to take notice. The next album, Highway to Hell, broke us here, you know, and in Europe, it was our biggest and still is one of the biggest albums we've had here.
Right, now listen, coming down to the current album, right? Where over the last year you've had, Van Halen, or over the last 18 months you've had Van Halen and David Lee Roth and Twisted Sister and God knows who, right? Of where, because you've been so quiet, yes.
We sell more records than them in their own country.
I know, but I mean, I'm asking you a sensible question.
Don't tell Warner Brothers.
I won't. Right, now listen, can you answer the question? To come out with now a new album, Fly on the Wall, and the fly is going to dominate the videos. I mean, how did you approach the album? I mean, knowing that you had to come up with something, something really good, which I believe you
It
had.
wasn't a case of having to come up without anything, mate. It was just a case of going up to do an album like we've done albums before. It was a case of going in and meeting up like we've met up before.
The only case that came into it was a dozen Fosters.
We got some of them in this time, right? That was the day when Mal sorted that out.
I thought you wanted Resh's, Brian.
I know that, but it's a nearest thing. I mean,
No, but on a serious note, I mean...
Don't look at me if you want to see it.
I'm with them.
it's scared to see how shoot I'm doing.
All right, let's go to the current single, Danger. It's going to be the first one of it. A great song. We'll get to sing it.
What do you think?
I love the song.
You like it?
Yes. But
That good?
If you're like me, if you like anything that you
no, I'd like to sing it. But I mean, there is a fair amount of pressure, surely, with someone, be the record company, that acdc, here is the new album, and folks, let's see what it does.
They're frightened of us. No, we haven't had any real pressure.
There's no pressure at all. We've got past the stage. We've sold over 30 million albums worldwide. Nobody puts pressure on us anymore. We're doing something right on our own. You know, we've done that since day one. In effect, we've worked with different producers, but it always boils down to the bottom line. It's the act that carries through. And if we come up with a commercially successful song, terrific. But we've never went that way. You know, we've always maintained that the kids thing.
With the album, you know, we've proved it with our albums and things. We can outsell singles. Not saying it in a bad light. It's just the way that it's the way that we went out there. We didn't go out to make an album for us. We went out there to make an album, you know. And if you go back to the early days of the Beatles and something, they done similar things. They made 3 or 4 good songs, which they said they're our single. But those kids, we don't want them paying that money, you know. And they put them on an album. These days it's different. They always take one off the record.
Okay, two last questions. The first one being, what is it with the Young family? I mean, I've never asked you this before. Knowing a lot of...
The mob connection. I knew it was coming up. I knew it. You couldn't leave it alone.
The Glaswegian Mafia, I'm telling you.
No, but seriously, I mean, what is the Young family? I mean, knowing what I thought was your oldest brother, Alex, and you tell me there's 3 more above him.
7 very short.
And George, but I mean, musically, I mean, where did it all come from? Have you ever looked at that? I mean, that you all have this ability to play music, want to write music?
I think it was lack of money. But
I think it came from kids. We're the youngest of a long, big family. I think in the early days in Scotland, they never really had much entertainment like TV, radio. Couldn't afford it even if it was there. They used to have to make their own entertainment.
It's a proven fact, you know.
So I think it just fed through the family. For the oldest brothers. By the time I got around to Alex and George, And later on, me and Angus, it was well established.
Right. Okay, final question. And I'll direct this to Brian. Now, it's a never-ending story, this.
Yeah, well, this will be a good one. How well then?
For Australia, I mean, when will you tour Australia again, do you think?
We're sitting down having some talks now with all the agents and people like that, trying to get a world tour sorted out. Me personally, I want to go back as soon as I can, you know, and everybody does. As soon as we can get it all sorted out, mate, we'll tell you better. Couple of months, you know, well, not even a couple of months. I'm sure we'll know better in a couple of months.
Cliff, one final question. Are these three guys madmen?
You're asking one of them, so you better. All totally sane, Ian. All totally sane.
It's nice to know.
Who's this?
I thought you were Madonna. Thanks a lot.
Dennis Lilly there.